Hello viewers, a happy Tuesday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant. You're watching 284 Media out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Joining me is the Honorable Minister for Trade and Economic Development. She is also an at-large representative. We have a number of topics that we're discussing today. Of course, at the forefront, the medical schools that are expected to be developed in the territory very soon. In addition to that, updates on trade and economic development. Of course, some issues that are tackling our sister islands. We'll be joined by the Honorable Minister herself, the Honorable Shereen Flax-Charles. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 Media.
Live stream cable TV is here with CCT Live. Access over 80 channels that you can watch either at home or when you're on the go. And don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Rewind and watch in your own time. Come to CCT today and ask about our 1-month free trial offer. CCT Live. Bring it home.
Viewers, welcome back, and once again, thank you so much for sticking with us. I'm Ron Grant, and you're watching 284 Media out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. As promised, I am joined by at-large representative and Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development, the Honorable Shereen Flax-Charles. Minister Charles, thank you so much for your time, and welcome back to 284 Media.
Thank you, Ron. It's great to be here again today, and I want to wish the listening and viewing audience a very happy 2022.
Thank you so much. There has been a lot going on in the territory, both on our main island and, of course, on our sister islands. Now, you are an at-large representative. You also have the portfolio of Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development. However, for some time, even before politics, you have been a major supporter and rally for the sister islands and their needs and concerns. I want to begin there. When you look at our sister islands, what are some of your concerns as it pertains to how these islands are managing? I know recently you spoke about policing facilities and the lack thereof. Expound on that for us.
Thank you, Ron. Yes, I am a major advocate for the sister islands. That is one of the aspects that we campaigned on. And having two persons that actually live on a sister island as sitting members of the House of Assembly makes a major difference. What I would say, we're not there yet, but we're getting there. Yesterday, we had the opening ceremony for the renovation and transformation of the Flax Administration Building on Virgin Gorda. And in earlier weeks, the Theodore Faulkner Building in Anegada. And a lot more services are coming to the sister islands. As it relates to policing, we do need more officers on the beat on the sister islands, specifically more so Anegada and Jasper Dyke, where you rotate one officer every 4 days or so. If there's a major incident, backup would need to come from one of the other islands, or the residents would have to make it their civic duty to become more involved. So while the police is there to enforce the law, it also makes persons feel very secure, of course. Not only our residents, but our tourists as well, just to have that presence around. It's very important for the tourism product as well as for our residents living on these islands.
Understood. Recently in the news, you did make some comments as it pertains to a situation where there was discrimination of boys when it comes to how they wear their hair. Now, I don't know what other persons took away from that, but for me, I took away the fact that we were somehow limiting self-expression as it pertains to boys and the way they are able to express themselves, particularly as hair. Tell me your thoughts on that situation, and where do you hope we can get as a country as it pertains to really instilling values of self-respect, but also self-expression amongst both boys and girls?
Well, Ron, this is a topic that is dear to my heart because I experienced it many years ago with two of my children, one a boy, one a girl. And we really need to understand that it's not what's on your head, it's what's inside. And I really like your takeaway because that is a lot of what I was feeling as well, that we need to allow our young people to be able to express themselves, whether it's with a hairstyle, whether it's with the way that they dress. Of course, in certain situations, you have to, dress professionally and so forth. And for me, you can wear your hair whichever way. You just need to be well groomed. And that is the takeaway I want persons to understand. Even as an elected member, I went to a workshop one day for our youth parliament, and one of the presenters said plain and simple, for the women, your hair must be pulled back in a tight bun. And there I was, Ron, with my great fro that I have now. Yes. And I was like, Shereen, count to 10, because I really wanted to interrupt, but it would not have been the professional thing to do. But it is important that you're seeing the trends, and a lot of our people are now going natural, and it looks very, very nice. It's something that people love to see. As a matter of fact, last night I was at a little restaurant, and a gentleman came in to buy something for his daughter. I didn't see the daughter at the time, but he stopped and he said, before he left, my daughter is asking, is that Shereen? And he told her yes, and she said, yes, I know her by her hair. And so you have to emulate, you have to let the young people know that they need to work on their minds, make sure that they have their brains prepared, because that's where their intelligence is, and it's not about a hairstyle or the type of hair that you have. It is all about being creative with your mind.
Absolutely. Speaking of our young people and the next generation of greatness, we have unfortunately recorded our first murder in the territory for 2022. Of course, gun violence is something that has plagued our society in years gone by. We've lost many young men, and unfortunately, it seems as though we continue to do so. Speak to the need for our young generation to understand that our kings are being lost to gun violence. What are your thoughts, and how do you think we could work as a society to somehow rectify this issue?
Yes, I wish to extend condolences to the family of the young man and friends as well. It was a very sad day, and it's hard to hear of our young men being gunned down, whether in the streets or in a club. I think we all have to come together as a community, as a nation, and embrace our young men. Parenting has a lot to do with it, but we need to go back to where a village raised a child. But we also, Ron, need to put programs in place to help our young men. And some of them run afoul with the law. They go to the prison. I've been speaking with the superintendent at the prison for us to pull our heads together along with Honorable Smith and Honorable Maduro Keynes to ensure that when persons run afoul with the law, that we have programs in place in order for them to be rehabilitated. I am sure you might have seen on Facebook, there was a post recently about a young man who recently came out of prison, applied for a job, was successful. The application did not ask if he was ever in trouble with the law. And 2 days after he started that job, he was terminated because he was in prison. To be honest, Ron, I am now working with that young man along with another. We were able to luckily find that first young man a job.
Beautiful.
And the second young man that just came out of jail as well, we're signing him up for the Marine program at the college. Because we have to find a way to make them, positive people, to make them successful in the community space. And so the rehabilitation program needs to come into play. And we also need to have programs on the ground that young men can go to, a safe area where they can go to when they feel that they're slipping on the wrong side of the law. And that is something that we're working on to ensure that our young people don't run afoul. And I've been a lot of them reach out to me, and we try to put them, whether it's in a job or in a space where they can learn a trade so that they can then become successful in life.
Understood. And speaking of programs, Honorable Minister, medical schools in the Virgin Islands have been a huge topic of discussion. Of course, you have recently made some statements on that. Many persons in the community are really wondering whether or not the medical schools are possible for this year. I want you to put this project into perspective for us and break it down.
Well, Ron, what I would say, yes, it's been bantered about for many, many years. And I will say to you that once I mention something, any project, I'm going to work like crazy to make sure that it happens. As a matter of fact, yesterday we had a meeting of the minds, the Premier, the Deputy Premier, the Minister for Health, myself, the Honorable De Castro, the PSs in the relevant ministries, along with persons from one of the medical schools that intend to come to the territory. They have already received conditional licenses here in the British Virgin Islands, and we are working diligently, and so are they on their end, because, you know, when it comes to that type, it's just like with any other educational institute or hospital, you must have accreditation. So we're looking at later this year or first thing in the new year to have them up and running, and you will be hearing a lot more in the very near future. March, we're looking at having a little bit more information out there for the general public, but it is something that is going to happen. Of course, we're in the COVID era and not making any excuses, but things do happen, but we are on our way to having that medical school in the BVI. There are a lot of parts to it too, because we will also have students coming in from outside of the territory. You need to look at the housing, the student visas, the work permits for instructors, and so forth. So it's a big package, but we are moving ahead with that particular project.
Now, with that in mind, what do you think that will signal for the BVI? What would medical schools mean for the territory to have such an institution here for us? Like you mentioned, for students to come from abroad, but also the possibility of our local students as well being able to participate in that program.
Well, Ron, that is a must. It is a must, and I have mentioned before that our local students who aspire to go into the medical field will have an opportunity to apply, just like they have applied to every other medical school, culinary school all around the world, or even here at HLSCC.
Yes.
It's not an automatic process. You have to apply and meet the credentials. And we have a lot of brilliant minds here in our young people who aspire to be doctors, pathologists, X-ray technicians, and so we are going to be paving the way where they don't necessarily have to leave the BVI in order to get that experience in the medical field or to be trained in the medical field in the first instance.
Understood. Of course, with the global pandemic that has been taking place, your department, the Trade and Economic Development, has of course seen an influx of persons as it pertains to the service. I want to commend the Trade Department first and foremost for being able to move to remote payment. We've discussed remote payment across the board, across government agencies, and how we could minimize the face-to-face interactions. However, the Trade Department has been one of the few departments who've been able to accomplish that. Speak to us on the Trade and Economic Development aspect. What's taking place? Are there any updates that you'd like to share with the general public?
Thank you, Ron. Well, the Trade Department, all of the employees there, they work very hard. I must say they're really badly short-staffed. So I am happy to hear, and I'm sure Director Christopher will be happy to hear, that the Trade Department is getting kudos for the work that they do. We are still in the process of working on setting up the Trade Commission. The Business Licensing Act had its first reading in the House recently, and so we're moving forward. As soon as that's done, then we will be able to get the Trade Commission up and running. In the meantime, we are also looking at small businesses and trying to develop small businesses, so that they can move on to the next level. But that project is coming. We are in discussions with the CDB, Caribbean Development Bank, because there are funds available to us for small business startup loans. And it is something that we have been working on. When you're dealing with the banks, you have to have everything precisely right. And so we will soon be coming to the public. But we will have other programs coming on stream. And one of them, we spoke about the hair and so forth. But we want to bring a program that says dress for success. And that does not mean that you always have to wear a suit and tie, because that's not, all professions do not require such. So these are some of the things that we're going to be doing, little things to elevate our young people, build their self-esteem, so that when they walk into an interview, before that the person who's interviewing them even opens their mouth, they're going to be like, wow, this person is totally prepared. So it is something that we're working on and will roll out in the very near future, among other things.
Of course. Honorable Minister, one of the things that I am getting from your sentiments is really building capacity across the board as it pertains to our business community, our small businesses particularly, and really elevating young professionals. We here in the Virgin Islands have a plethora of young professionals. We've seen an increase. You would think that the pandemic would deter persons, but that has absolutely not been the case. We've seen quite an increase of the number of small businesses, particularly owned by young entrepreneurs, being opened in the territory. So I do believe that signals a brighter future, but in the same breath, just like you said, we do need to build capacity and present tools that would help these young professionals and even the veterans professionals as well to be able to succeed as it pertains to our business community.
Yes, and I'll tell you, we have gotten at the Trade Department saw an increase in the amount of trade license applications, and the creative juices started to flow when the pandemic started. Persons were without work. Persons said, this might be an opportunity for me to do something new. I had such a great idea the other day, and now is the time for me to start that process, to put that idea into motion and make it a reality. And so one of the things that we're going to be partnering with the BVI Accounting Association to ensure that persons have the tools in place, whether it's QuickBooks or whatever, application they want to use to make sure their financials are in order, to make sure that they have a great marketing plan, that their branding is on point. And those are the things that we want to do. Sometimes you mightn't get it right all at once. And we won't leave out the persons who have been in business forever or have a medium or large business, because we always need that little extra push. And so you always have to have that little refresher course. Trends, things change. Today the color might be black, tomorrow it's blue. And so we have to make sure that our young people and our business people on a whole are on target. And I would like to quickly pay tribute to Clarence Thomas. He will be laid to rest today, but look at what Mr. Thomas did from a little tiny plumbing store to a superstore. And it took a lot of work. His family, his children worked with him all the way through. And now they're continuing the legacy that he built. But his legacy will remain with us forever. And these are the things that we need to say to young people. You see persons in business, it took them 20 years, 50 years to get to that particular stage. It's not a walk in the park. It's roses, but sometimes there's some thorns out there too.
Absolutely.
And you still have to push on and press on.
Wonderful. Minister, I want to thank you so much for your time today in bringing light to a number of the issues that we have, of course, around our society. We appreciate you coming, and we do wish you much continued success.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. And I look forward to the next time I'm here to 84 Media.
Viewers, that is all the time we have, but of course that is not all the content. Stay locked to our page and of course our website, 284media.com, for local, regional, and international content. In addition to that, of course, we have a number of shows that you could engage on and of course keep up to date. I'm Ron Grant. Do have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.